Hey guys, what is up? So I'm going to share a funny little game that I played earlier on. I haven't played seriously today because I was camping over the weekend with my oldest friend and consumed far too much ale. So need a couple of days to kind of catch up on a bit of sleep and rest and stuff like that. Anyway, so I've been mucking about on Lee Chess for a few games, and I came across a weird gambit that I couldn't remember ever having seen. Now, I have seen it before, and it's the elephant gambit, but I kind of got my knickers in a twist over this. So I'm going to do three things in this video. First, I'll run you through the game because it's quite fun, and I really was, tripping over my own feet for quite a bit of this. And then I thought, well, look, first of all, what is this gambit? So I had to go and find out. And then I went and found out, well, how do you refute the gambit? Okay, so we're going to look at that, but I'm also going to show you the most common line as well. And all of this you can get from the Lee Chess Explorer. Okay, well, obviously apart from my game. No, you probably could. Anyway, so I'll show you the game. So I've got white. It's I think it's a 10-minute rapid. So I'm like 1800. Yeah, I'm 1800 on Lee Chess. My opponent's just under. E4, E5, knight to F3. So I'm playing like just mucking about with the Scotch at the moment, right? And now opponent plays D5, and I'm like, okay, I'm immediately stumped. And so I take the pawn, figuring that if Queen recaptures, I'll play knight c3, like with a Scandinavian, and with tempo, kick the queen away. But he doesn't collect the pawn. He pushes e4, and I'm thinking, now my knight looks awkward. Okay, now I can't go here or here because of queenie. All right, I can't go back here because of pride, which only leaves two options. Right. One of them is very advanced, one of them is less so. So I play knight d4. Now the queen grabs the pawn, and now my knight is looking awkward, and I can't go back to my natural square on f3. So now I push c3, which I'm not entirely happy about. It deprives this knight of an option to move towards the centre. On the other hand, it does maybe allow my queen out into the board. So yeah, that's not entirely pleasant, and I'm already starting to feel a bit stupid. Okay, what's more, I've given back the pawn, so it's one of those not really a gambits because you generally win the pawn back anyway. So it's looking quite interesting. This is a bit kind of wayward queen territory feel to it. Anyway, so now I play queen e2. The idea being pinning this pawn. Putting an attacker on there, it just felt kind of right. And it turns out that is actually a very useful move. I just didn't play it at the right time. Now the dark squared bishop comes flying out, and now black is ready to castle short. He's got three pieces out on the board. Black is looking pretty good. So I've got two attackers on this knight, only one defender right now. So what can I do? Retreat the stupid knight. And now this knight's looking ridiculous. Completely on the wrong side of the board, completely offside. Opponent castles, I push b4 with tempo to kick the bishop, retreats bishop, and now I spot knight e3. So this knight really is tying itself up in knots, but at least I've got another tempo here against the queen, kind of preventing this pawn from advancing as well. Queen comes onto this side. Now I'm not worried about queen takes h2, because that just loses material. So I have a think here. And I reckon, now obviously as well, we need to be aware of this pawn being kind of pinned because there's a danger of the queen taking the rook. Okay, well I have a think, and I figure I can play d4. Because if they take en passant, I can recapture with my queen on c3, and I'm okay. And again, it comes with tempo, so I push d4. He does capture en passant. I recapture with the queen. And now I'm not feeling too bad. I can breathe again, So I could play bishop e2, I can castle my king, I can develop my knight, maybe even to there, and go on about my day. So now opponent grabs a free pawn on b4. And this is interesting because would you stop licking everything, mate? It's not going to help. If I take the bishop, black can take my rook, and I don't have a nice kind of queen trap or anything lined up. Okay. So, and also I haven't castled it. It'd be nice to be able to castle, maybe connect the rooks and eliminate this problem. But I'd love to take the bishop. So what I come up with is bishop to d2. So I'm reinforcing this pawn, which is now defended no less than 3 times. Bishop dodges now out of the way, because obviously, you know, the bishop, it's... I mean, am I threatening to take here? So, you know, for example, if I did take now and queen took here, I would now have bishop c3, hitting the queen. The queen can grab this pawn, but anyway, black decides to move the bishop and turn its sights on this knight here. Now I play bishop e2, he develops a knight and I castle. Okay, so we're doing okay. Now he comes into here with an attack on my queen, right? And again, you know, it's that kind of poison square. Like, can I capture the knight? Yeah. So again, I've got the same problem. There, queen takes. I'm giving up the exchange. This knight here is now defended, but again, the pawn's undefended. So what I do here is I play queen to c4. So now I've got 2 attackers on the knight. And maybe we've got ideas of defending this knight somehow. You know, maybe bishop d3. Bishop comes out here now looking at my queen. And I come into b5. I reckon I'm not going to be trapped there. Pushes b6. And now I decide I can grab the knight. And the reason is, right, with this, it's the continuation. Because this knight is now defended. Maybe I could have even taken it before. Takes. But then you can just take back with the bishop, I guess. No, then I get the bishop attack the rook. That's not. Maybe I could have taken it before. Okay, it comes to this, and now I take the knight, because if queen takes rook, I get the bishop. Queen takes rook, and instead of that immediate, I spot this in-betweening, right? Again, the knight's defended, but now this is a fork on the queen and the f6 knight. And if I capture the f6 knight, the only piece that can recapture is the g-pawn, thereby opening up the king. So queen grabs pawn, I grab bishop, queen grabs bishop, blunder, drops his queen. Okay, so we won't see the end of that game. It's there's nothing really special about it. It goes on for another 50 moves from there. So anyway, let's now look at the normal way in which the Elephant Gambit goes. So the way that I've done this, I'll show you. Right, I go onto the player's database. I go onto the lowest setting, 1600, which is probably around 12 to 1300 chess.com equivalent, bullet, blitz, and rapid. Right. So we put in the first moves. These are the first 2 moves on either side. And you can see it's already. This means dubious, right? Because white should already have an advantage, even though black's striking for the centre. It is a gambit. And all I do now is I sit here clicking the most commonly played move, okay? So we'll just go through these, right? So takes, e4 is pushed, okay? And now here, the best move is queen to e2, which I should know because it's a pattern from the Vienna Gambit, right? You just pin the pawn. You pin the pawn against the king, you stop the pawn from being able to capture the knight, and you develop the queen at the same time. And if queen now takes here, you do have this attacking the queen, also then with 2 pieces attacking the pawn. Because you've got queen here and knight here, both attacking the pawn. Queen has to move, you get the pawn back, happy days. Okay, so queen e2 is actually the most commonly played move here. It's not the move that I played. Now, knight comes out, now you push d3, taking advantage of the fact this pawn cannot take either way because it's still in the pin. Okay, they come out with check, takes. You know, again, this is all just every most commonly played move, right? You take there, bishop retreats, bishop there, takes. And from here, black is winning 52% of the time. Why? You know, you kind of have to say, well, black's looking underdeveloped. However, black has castled. White has not yet castled. Okay. Black plays a rook across to e8. The most commonly played move, right? There are actually better moves here for black. Knight taking on e4 immediately, because then if pawn takes, then you've got rook e8 with a pin on the queen. That wins more of the time. That's won 57% of 47 games. And also knight taking, hang on, so knight taking e4, yeah. Knight taking e4, queen can't capture, or the knight taking there and pawn can't capture. So both of those are actually more winning. But the most common move is the immediate rook e8, again threatening either of these moves. Okay. White will play bishop d3. Mistake. It's definitely handing some initiative back to black. But why? Now we get knight takes d5, and then white realises, ooh, I can't capture with the pawn. So they move their queen to here. Most common move, queen d4. Okay. And look, that is a blunder. It's dropped all the way down. Why is it a blunder? Well, knight to c6 now hits the queen. Okay. Queen moves to here. Knight back. This is very, very kind of like a Petrov. You see the knight's ending up over this side. And from this point, it's actually -7. Black is castled, has a major piece on both the central files. This queen is in a heap of trouble. So let's see, what does white usually play? White will usually, I mean, I say usually, you know, this position's been reached 3 times and white drops the bishop back and then drops this bishop. So, you know, this queen is the only defender of this bishop that is under attack by this lady. And you know, where's the queen going to go to defend it here? Right, she's going to get kicked all over the park. So queen goes there, and you know, black is just going to go on to win. All right, so that's how to lose against the elephant gambit. That's the most common thing, right? Now, how do you win? So then I just open up another explorer in Lichess, and I actually changed this one to, like, you know, the better players and remove bullet, right? I can even just go 2500 because there's enough games. Okay, so there's the first few moves. So we've got 7,000 games, perfectly enough to be statistically useful. It's still, even at this level, 45% to white, 47% to black. So it's still actually very dangerous gambit, even at only the 2500 level, right? Now you go onto the Masters database, that's going to be a different story. Okay, so again, so now what we're doing is we're not looking for the most commonly played moves, we're looking for the best moves for white. And you can also then stick on stockfish, so e takes d5 or knight takes e5, both are good, right? ed is best for the computer and also kind of best by test as well. e4 is going to be played, okay? And now you don't move the knight. You leave the knight where it is, you munch away knighty, because we're just going to play queen e2 now, pin the pawn, and we're already +1. So, I'm going to play always the most commonly played move by black here. So the idea here is not to try and remember a load of theory, because I'm too old and I can't remember it, can't be bothered, right? The point here is to try and get a feel for the opening. How does it go? You know, what are the most the key features of it? What are the most salient factors going on here? Okay, so they develop their knight. We have to play d3 on knight c3. Computer says knight c3. Here I've selected d3. Right, now if they take the pawn, knight. Okay, there's a couple of moves here. The engine suggests knight f to d2, which just looks weird. Now it does mean we've then got 3 attackers on this pawn, okay? But more humans play knight b to d2 with development, and actually that also outscores knight f to d2 at the 2500 level. So I selected knight b to d2. They will bring out their knight, and now simply de, and you're okay. You know, you're still kind of +1 here, right? The most common move, queen h5, yes. And now it's 66% to white from this position, because we play the challenging queen b5, pinning this guy here, but also we now have tension between the queens. And now we're plus 1.7. They will develop their bishop. And we attack the bishop with the knight to b3. They grab a pawn. We face off bishops. They come in with check, hit it, kick it. And from this point, basically, if black trades queens now, recapture the bishop there, right? White is plus 1.8 according to the fish. Anything else, and black is dead lost, pretty much. Like queen g6. So, queen takes b5 has been played 2 times. But yeah, like I say, this knight is pinned. This knight is undefended. This bishop's under attack. So they've really got to capture here, there, and then retrieve the bishop. So let's say they just, run away with the bishop, for example. It's now plus 12, right? Because, oh dear, my queen, right? So yeah, the queen's undefended. He's going to have to do something. So there you go. So, what's the idea here? If you see this opening, they advance that, you stick your queen on e2 and pin the pawn. That's pretty much all you have to remember. The rest of it is fairly straightforward. Just development and play sensibly. But don't feel like immediately think, oh, I have to move this knight again. Always look for something else. Well, do I have to move the knight? Well, the pawn's in front of the king, and it's our old favourite, queen e2, pin the pawn, and then our knight maintains the control over the centre. Our queen is now attacking the pawn, So that's it. That's your brief guide to defusing the elephant gambit. And it feels to me as though, at my level, that's about all I really need to do when I come across a weird and funky gambit that I don't really recognise. So I then went and looked this up. So have I ever faced this on chess.com? And I have. So basically I've played 14 games against the elephant gambit with 7 wins, 7 losses. So, it's worked out all right for black, for sure, so far. That's including the win I just got from there as well. But yeah, it worked out all right. So would I recommend this as an opening? I mean, it's been played thousands of times at the 2500 level, so maybe it's not that bad, but yeah, it has to be categorised as dubious, with white being already pawn and a half up at this point in time. But just got to know basically what to do so you don't end up falling over your feet like I did in the first game. So there you go, there's your quick guide. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.